Our mission is accelerating life-changing breakthroughs to cure, prevent, and better treat type 1 diabetes and its complications.
Welcome to Startup Health TV, where we celebrate the entrepreneurs and the innovators who are transforming health. I'm Logan Plaster, here on the floor of the American Diabetes Association annual conference, the scientific sessions, here with my guest, Dr. Aaron Kowalski, the CEO of Breakthrough T1D. Great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's just start with Breakthrough T1D, because you were formerly
JDRF.
JDRF.
Breakthrough T1D. So I'll just, to the point, our mission is accelerating life-changing breakthroughs to cure, prevent, and better treat type 1 diabetes and its complications. And our old name, JDRF, we felt was too narrow. There is no juvenile. It used to be the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. There is no juvenile diabetes. It's type 1 diabetes. Many people thought of us as only focused on kids. We're all ages and all stages of the disease. And to drive our mission, we need more people leaning in and being supportive, whether it's supporting research, participating in clinical trials, advocating for the right policies, breaking down the barriers, breaking through T1D. So it's amazing. It's been so well received. I'm super exciting. It was nerve-wracking, I got to admit. My family's been involved since the late 70s. So we went through, it was actually JDF when I started. So it's a natural evolution, and I think it really fits with our mission.
Okay. Speaking of that mission, what are your priorities in 2024?
So our number one priority is curing type 1 diabetes. That's why we were founded. I think the data that Vertex presented here at the conference was amazing. It's showing stem cell-derived islets can restore insulin independence, which is a huge, huge step. So that's number one.
Is that something you've been involved in?
Since the 90s. You know, the idea that islet transplantation has been able to cure people, but it was donor-derived islets. Unfortunately, somebody would have to donate their organs. This is a scalable way to do this. And now the pathway for us is, of course, we want to see Vertex and other companies get to the market with that first product. It will require immunosuppression, so we're really looking at what's the pathway to reduce or remove the need for immunosuppression. But 50 years ago, this organization was found to remove the need to take insulin, and I think we're seeing a pathway to get there.
That's awesome. Do you feel like the news from Vertex opens the door for other therapeutics, or at least shows people a light at the end of the tunnel?
I've always said there is no single cure. There will be cures. They'll probably happen in steps. For example, this VX880 product will require immunosuppression, so the patient population that's applicable to won't be everybody. It won't be approved for kids. You'll have to make a decision, trade off diabetes for immunosuppression. So I think there's going to be a race to have other cell lines, have other approaches. We're supporting a number of companies that are working in this space, investigators, researchers all over the world to try to, broaden. But I mean, this is just amazing to be even having the discussion after so many years. We started funding Doug Melton in the 90s when he went to try to make stem cells into insulin-producing cells, went into our T1D fund in the form of SEMA, his company, Dr. Pagliuca, and then into Vertex. So it's this transition that is amazing to see kind of really coming home now.
One of the things that fascinates me is the difference between the need for brand new innovations in T1D and the need to simply bring what we currently have to the masses. So innovative business models that increase access. So where do you sort of divide your attention between those two ideas, and where do we need to be doing more to open up access to currently available technology?
Yeah, access is a huge priority for me and for Breakthrough T1D, because ultimately it's all about access. The mission is accelerating life-changing breakthroughs. If you don't have access, your life's not changed. And the other part of the equation for us is there's a business model element to this. Innovations driven by companies who are bringing products to the market and can get them into the hands of people so they can then make them even better. And if it's a slow process, and we've seen this in the device world and in type 1 diabetes, I've been on a CGM for 18 years now. And we still talk about this like it's new. Like, no, it's 18 years. Come on. The automated insulin delivery systems. we estimate 10 to 15% of Americans are using them. If you talk to anybody wearing them, I fortunately have one, my brother does, transformative in our lives. But that means all these people aren't benefiting yet. So it's a patient need, obviously, but it's also driving that innovation, allowing other companies to come in, develop breakthroughs, and continue to innovate. And we have to improve access. The speed at which you move from regulatory approval to patient penetration it's got to be faster.
And you're talking about CGMs and pumps. I was just talking to another founder who is trying to help folks get off of syringes and move towards pens. So you have this entire continuum. That's pretty wild. Something that I have found at conferences like this, sometimes the most interesting conversations you have are in the hallways and in between sessions, maybe even in line waiting for food. Anything you've heard that maybe surprised you, piqued your interest, got you excited about sort of what comes after the conference?
I think for us, it's really just, we understand type 1 diabetes now, and we're talking beyond better treatments. Of course, Breakthrough T1D is going to continue to make sure that we're pushing on better treatments because we want people to be healthy when cures arrive. But the fact that one of our researchers, Dr. Anastasia Albanese-O'Neill, for example, is presenting the new clinical guidelines for early stages of type 1 diabetes. I mean, the fact that in the hallways people understand that type 1 diabetes starts before you have high blood sugar is amazing to me. The fact that we're talking about cell therapies and what's next with kind of the line of sight that this is going to be a product, amazing to me. Some of the thinking around, okay, well, where do we go from here? Who do we need to bring into the field? Whether it's the gene editing community, new material science people, the drugs for transplants, trying to minimize immunosuppression. It's like, it's this broadening of our thinking beyond just the traditional core T1D or diabetes community to really bridge in this kind of scientific revolution that we're seeing right now, which is awesome.
Where do you feel like early stage startups fit into the equation? A lot of the work that you're describing takes years, so much capital, and yet we have this group of passionate T1D founders, early stage folks who have so many ideas. And sometimes it can be hard to think about how they bridge the gap to commercialization, to scale. But what role do you feel like they play in the market?
Yeah, and I appreciate all you guys do at Startup Health. I think there's such an important role. Almost all of this starts as a startup. You look at big companies like Vertex, Sanofi, Novo, many of the things that they're bringing to the market now started at small companies that were acquired. Another area that I'm excited about is glucose responsive insulin. Our one of the projects that's now at Lilly started with a prize that we gave out, and then a tiny little company, and then they got venture backed and into the fund, and now they're moving into clinical trial work. So that is the arc that many of the companies are looking for these folks for the next innovation, and we have to support that ecosystem, give them the right tools. You guys are doing an amazing job. We're proud to partner and try to help as well. That's the future.
Yeah, you obviously have some pattern recognition, having been at this for a while. You give out funds, you see who works, who doesn't. What have you learned about the kinds of folks that you should be investing in?
Yeah, I think I always think of it as the old adage, if you build it, will they come? One of the things I see a lot in diabetes in my many years here now is people building things that don't make sense. So what I'm always looking for is it meeting an unmet patient need? And that is like critical. If you can fill that gap, like we were talking about the early CGM days and how many people in the finger strip business were like, oh, this is too much information, or this is never gonna work. And you look at Dexcom, Dexcom, huge company here now, Abbott, originally Freestyle. There were so many skeptics, but they addressed an unmet need. And I think that to me is, if you find that niche where you're gonna help a lot of people, you're gonna get there. And we're gonna support that.
Awesome. Well, Aaron, Breakthrough T1D, formerly JDRF, you've done amazing work for decades and decades supporting this community. You're absolutely integral to the work that is happening, and it's been great having you on the T1D Moonshot. on the impact board. So I appreciate your time. Any last words of advice for folks who are working in this field as founders?
Well, keep Breakthrough T1D in mind. If you have great ideas, the door is always open. And we raised a record amount of funding this year. We're going to fund over $110 million next year, plus our T1D fund, hopefully another $25 or $30 million in investments in companies. We want the next breakthroughs, and we want to support them, and we want to hear from folks. So on our website, contact me or our scientific team. What you're doing at Startup Health, we're all in it. It's a complicated, big ecosystem, but we want to, help people be successful. So
I love it.
that's where.
All right. Keep up the great work, Aaron.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care.